Somewhere right now there's an app you've never heard of, charging $30 a month, run by maybe 3 people, and it might be worth more than a factory that employs hundreds. That sounds absurd until you understand the math underneath software, a kind of math that doesn't work like any normal business. I build these systems for a living, so let me pull back the curtain on how something so small becomes worth so much. Start with one strange property that makes software unlike almost anything else. When a car maker builds one more car, it costs them nearly as much as the last one: steel, parts, labor, every single time. When I build a piece of software and one more customer signs up, it costs me almost nothing. The same code that serves 10 people serves 10,000, with barely any extra cost. That one difference, build it once, sell it endlessly for almost nothing extra, is the seed of the whole thing. Everything else grows from it. Let me show you how it compounds. The first consequence is margins that would be impossible in a normal business. A shop might keep a few cents on every dollar of sales after costs. A good software business can keep the majority of every dollar because once the product is built, serving each new customer costs almost nothing. That $30 payment isn't $30 of sales the way a shop sees it. Most of it is closer to pure profit. I've felt this directly. When someone subscribes to something I've built, I'm not scrambling to produce another unit. The product already exists. Their payment mostly just arrives. Stack up enough of those, and you've got a business keeping a share of its revenue that a factory owner could only dream of. That's step one. Not just income, but income that barely costs anything to deliver. Now combine that fat margin with the subscription engine, payments that repeat. This is where it starts to compound. Picture 100 customers at $30 a month. That's $3,000 a month. Not life-changing. But here's the part people miss. Next month, you don't start over. Those 100 are, mostly, still paying, and you add new ones on top. Month 2 isn't 100, it's 150, then 200. The revenue doesn't just add up, it stacks. Each month builds on the last instead of resetting to zero. A modest $30 product with a few thousand loyal customers quietly becomes a business making millions a year, not through any single big sale, but through small payments that never stop and keep piling on. Here's the piece that turns makes good money into worth millions. Valuation. When someone buys a business, they don't just pay for this year's profit. They pay a multiple of it, a bet on all the profits still to come. And software gets one of the highest multiples of anything because its future income is unusually predictable and cheap to deliver. Recurring subscriptions, fat margins, low cost to grow, investors will pay many times the annual revenue for that combination. So watch what happens. A little app makes, say, $1 million a year in recurring revenue. A normal small business might sell for a slice of that. But a software business with those qualities can sell for several times its yearly revenue, turning a millions a year business into a worth tens of millions business. The multiple is the magic trick. It's why founders chase recurring revenue so hard. Every dollar of it is worth several dollars the day you sell. But there's a catch, and it's the number that separates the apps that make it from the ones that quietly die, whether people stay. In this world, it's called churn. The rate at which customers cancel. And it's everything. Because the entire miracle, the stacking, the multiple, the millions, depends on customers not leaving. If you're adding 100 new customers but losing 110, you're not a growing business. You're a leaking bucket, no matter how many you pour in. This is the part outsiders never see. From the outside, it looks like the game is getting customers. From the inside, and I've lived this, the real game is keeping them. A small app with customers who stay for years beats a flashy one that signs up thousands and loses them by next month. Retention is the quiet number the whole valuation secretly rests on. So how does a $30 app become worth millions? Build it once, serve everyone for almost nothing, keep most of every dollar as profit, let the payments repeat and stack, instead of resetting. Multiply that predictable stream by the premium investors pay for it. And above all, keep your customers from leaving. None of it is a single big moment. It's small, boring, repeating math, compounding quietly in the background until a tiny product is somehow worth more than a building full of machines. That's the hidden logic behind half the overnight tech fortunes you hear about. There was no overnight. Just $30, times a lot of people, times a lot of months, times a multiple. Running quietly for years. That wraps this first series on the hidden money logic behind everyday things. If it changed how you see the ordinary stuff around you, subscribe and stick around. There's a lot more hidden math where this came from. I'll see you in the next one.